And welcome to this episode of the Connecting Faith to Life podcast. I'm Trey Rhodes, the Connections Pastor here at Northwood Baptist Church in North Charleston, South Carolina. In just a few moments, our lead pastor, Dr. Tommy Metter, will be joining the conversation as well. In our crazy and chaotic world, our hope is that these few minutes will help you stop and reflect on your relationship with Jesus as you learn to connect Christ-centered faith to your everyday life. And welcome to episode 262, and it's good to be back, and I appreciate you coming and listening.
You've been missing for a while, Pops.
Yeah, I've had some issues, and I'm still continuing, but you know what?
Well, you've always had issues. That's nothing new.
Some sickness issues.
Sickness issues, and then you were in Boston.
When I was sick. I was still sick.
You were still sick there. Yeah, you missed a day. You had to go up a day late.
Yeah, it was a mess. But anyway.
You're feeling much better, right? You're all healed up. And
I don't think I'm all healed up yet, but we'll see.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you're back.
I go see the doctor this weekend, so we'll see what Friday, so we'll see what that means. Anyway, it's just good to be back, and I feel good. I feel fine. It's just the blood work, so we'll see how that goes. But anyway, the point is that the Lord is at work, and it was a blessing to be a part of what I spent a lot of time preparing for and getting ready for, and a lot of our people did. That is going on a mission trip, and I think our mission trips are unique in the sense that we really go, I feel like, and I've only been to Boston with our church, but when we go, it's always, we are on mission the whole time we're there. If we're out visiting or seeing sites, we're still on mission, reaching people, sharing the gospel, and the impact that makes is just, we hope, makes a difference in eternity.
Yeah, we've had a lot of teams go out this summer, and so we're sending a team to Utah this week. I'll be leading that team. Looking forward to that, being in the heart of Latter-day Saint country. Yeah. And that's going to be very unique. We're partnering with the Redemption Church there and looking forward to being there. And we've got with us today Cody. How you doing, Cody?
Good.
And Logan. How you doing, Logan?
Good to be back.
Good to be back. I think Logan still has more visits to the podcast than you, right, Cody?
Yeah, that'll probably always be the case.
No, we're going to get you on more.
We'll see. All right. We love having you, man.
I think I've got the record
right now, but things can change. They can always change. So we'll see. So we're going to talk about the most recent trips that we've sent people on, and that is to Dominican Republic. Cody led a team of students and adults there, and then you and Logan just got back from Boston. Yes. So we're going to share those times together and just talk a little bit about those trips. Cody, I'd have a question for you though as we get started. Is it wrong for a vegetarian to eat animal crackers?
No.
Okay.
Suppose they have lard in them.
Logan, dawn or dusk?
Dusk, for sure.
Interesting.
I am not a fan of the morning time, so.
No, you're not, are you?
Yeah, he's not.
Cody.
I was on mission with him, I know.
Favorite junk food?
Oh, man.
I know what mine is.
I guess M&M's.
M&M's?
Oh, that ain't even junk food.
That's
Peanut M&M's aren't even junk food, man.
I had to think for a second.
Yeah.
Unless you consider gum junk food, I don't know.
Logan, fill in the blank. Taylor Swift is
great.
Wow, that's a big word.
You a big Swiftie?
I mean, no, but I don't.
Can you name 5 Taylor Swift songs?
Probably not.
I can't name them at all.
But Cody, I'm not going to speak poorly.
Could you name 5 Taylor Swift songs?
I probably could, but I definitely could sing lyrics to them more so.
Shake it up.
I'm not a
Shake
song
it up. That's the only one
name kind of guy, you know.
Oh, I do know
Shake
that
It
one.
Up?
I do know
she
that
does
one.
that, right?
Yeah,
right.
I do know that one. That's the one I know.
Cody, favorite childhood TV show?
Blue's Clues.
Really?
Yeah.
Just got a letter.
You were the Blues Clues guy. Okay.
I was.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah.
Logan, cake or pie?
Cake. I'll take cake.
What kind?
Carrot cake's my favorite cake.
Oh, man. Is it really?
Yes,
Kelly makes a killer
absolutely.
carrot cake. Okay, we'll make you one.
That
Kelly
sounds great. I'm totally in. This worked out great for me. I'm glad I'm on the podcast.
You're not a vegetarian, are you?
No.
Okay.
Cody, first Spanish word that pops to mind.
Hola. Sound terrible. Bonjour was what I was thinking of. That's French.
How about hola?
Well, yeah. I mean, Olaw's good.
That's
means
my
the same
first
thing.
one. That's my go-to.
You just went to the
I know.
DR and bonjour was
I
the
know.
first thing you could come
Well,
up with.
they do speak
They are Haiti
also
there, a
French,
little bit.
So there's a little bit there. But I took too many years of French. I don't know why the public school system offered me French in
I
America.
took French. I
But,
took French.
Spanish would have been.
I got to
just
speak to a
more
lady in
helpful.
French, so it does help.
Logan, last question. Why can't you tickle yourself?
That is, I've thought about this as a dad whose kids, my kids love being tickled. I don't know.
That is
So I don't know.
kinda
That's
wild,
not a
isn't it?
very enlightening answer, but I have thought about this, and I have absolutely no idea why that's the case.
I feel like we know you guys better now.
This is great.
That was
I
a lot
think
of fun.
rapid fire questions without explanation is 100% the way to greet a guest.
I like
Trey?
it. Yeah,
Trey,
I
guest
think
services.
I like
we got a new
it.
training
We're going to do
strategy.
that from now on.
All right, Cody, you just spent, was it a week you guys were in Dominican Republic?
Yep.
So tell us a little bit about that partnership, how that came about. We've sent now 2 or 3 teams there. I don't know how long
Yeah,
they've been going. 3
three
teams now. I
teams.
know Logan went with you about a year ago to scope it out a little bit, right? That about a
4
year
years
ago? 4
ago now.
I can't remember. I don't have any. I don't know.
Yeah.
Time just goes by. Talk to us about it.
Sure. So a few years ago, I say a few years ago, probably about 6 or 7 years ago, I got connected with an organization called SCORE that my uncle at the time, who's a pastor in Georgia, he connected me to this missionary training center located in a town in the Dominican Republic. And so he took me a couple times, and I just kind of fell in love with what they're doing. They have a really big heart to train up and equip indigenous peoples in different countries to then take the gospel and plant churches and make disciples in those countries. So I just believe that's one of the most effective ways you can do missions. And so as I stepped on staff here and became a student pastor 3 years ago, I figured it would be a great opportunity to start taking a team. And so I asked Logan if he'd go with me for a vision trip on that fall. And then the following summer, which was 3 years ago, I led my first team down there.
Yeah. And so you took how many with you this time?
This time we had 18 total.
Mm-hmm. How many students? How many adults?
So we had about 10 students, and the rest were adults.
Yeah. So when we do this trip, this is specifically for high school students
Absolutely.
and up. So tell us about the week. Tell us about what took place during the week.
Yeah, so we visited a few different ministries, missionaries, and churches in and around the southern portion of the Dominican Republic. It's an island. It's on an island that shares the island, I guess, with Haiti. And so some of the places that we visited were mainly Dominican places. Some of the places we visited were Haitian refugees that kind of have villages in different portions. But a lot of the things that we did, honestly, we just came alongside the missionaries and the pastors and the churches where they were already doing work, and we assisted in further evangelism and disciple-making stuff. And this has just kind of been, over the past few years, continuing for us to figure out what this looks like to actually help them. And I know we'll talk about this probably in the future, but there are many different things that Americans come into different missional contexts and do. But we really believe that the most beneficial thing is sharing the gospel and helping the missionaries who are sharing the gospel and making disciples day in and day out. With our 1 week that we're there, how can we assist them do that? And so we spent the week going through various different portions of the country sharing the gospel.
Yeah. So tell us about the indigenous people. It's a lot of poverty.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of receptivity to the gospel. Tell us a bit about the indigenous people there.
Yeah, so the Dominican, Spanish-speaking people, and it was kind of discovered by Christopher Columbus a few hundred years ago. And Christopher Columbus came and planted the first church in the Western Hemisphere, obviously bringing with that not just some Christian concepts that came with the Catholic Church, but also the name of Christ for the first time to the native peoples that live there. And over the years, it has been kind of known that the Dominican people were a Christian people. They're actually the only country in the world who has a Bible on their flag. So that's pretty unique as well. And you would think by those measures that it would be a fairly reached people group. However, they're incredibly lost because while they've heard the name of Christ, many of them have no understanding of what that means. Many of them have no understanding of faith and repentance. It is nominally, for the vast majority of the people that live on the island, it's very nominal that they're Christians at all. So while it has on the face this Christian nation in some ways, it's very very lost, and with poverty, right? That's also gonna be very challenging for the people to overcome. So yeah, we are partnering with a lot of the churches that are there, and they're trying to confront that darkness.
All right. So ask you a few more questions, but let's talk about Boston for a minute. So, Pops, our connection with Boston over the years has been because of your son.
Yeah,
your son planted, originally it was called Mosaic Church. It was in partnership with another church in Boston that was Mosaic.
Called Mosaic Church, yes.
So it was Mosaic Church, Jamaica Plain. And then they changed their name about a year, has it been a year or more than that now? Probably about 2 years ago they changed their name, and now they're Arbor Way Community Church in Jamaica Plain. And lots happened in the 5 or 6 years that we've been there. They obviously had the name change. I know they struggled for a long time to have a permanent facility.
Now they do.
And they finally have a permanent facility in a beautiful building, right? And I think the church looks
like a church and everything.
Yeah, yes. And I think they've seen
it is a church. Actually.
They've seen a lot of growth. What are they? I mean, I think about 100 people go now.
He had 80. This is in middle summer. He had 84 last week. So
yeah, which in Boston, that's very good.
It's almost
church.
a mega church.
Yeah, very good sized church.
Not really, but it's a pretty good sized church. Yeah.
But he's been laboring away there.
He's had some rough years.
COVID
was horrible.
COVID was tough on them, and but doing a really good job. And I know that you enjoy going up there and ministering, and so. This year, we did something unique. We did a basketball camp in Boston where the world champions, the Boston Celtics, are. Yeah. But you didn't have any Boston Celtics come to your basketball camp.
We were trying. It didn't work, but yeah.
So tell us about, Logan, tell us about the week. We took a team of how many to Boston?
So we had 11, 12 since Kelly came along and served with us, which was great. And, this was the first time that we've really tried to do this basketball camp effort. He said that it's been a very effective form of ministry for them. Lots of kids showing up, families showing up. And so I obviously love basketball. And so somewhat selfishly, honestly, I was like, I would like to do that. And I thought we would have people that would enjoy that. And overall, I mean, it just went really well. We ran into some difficulties along the way. That's going to happen on mission trips, but –
like the basketball.
Yeah, we do have to tell him that one
story.
story. That's amazing. That's wild.
Yeah, so this was the first year that he wanted to try to do 2 separate basketball camps at 2 separate locations. There was another church from the upstate area that was working at one of the parks, and we were going to be working at the other. So we went to the place we were staying was right down the road from this basketball court by a high school, and the first night went really well. Kids showed up. It was good. We had really good conversations. So we're walking up the second day on Tuesday to get ready for the camp, and there's an excavator just tearing up the basketball courts. There had been a miscommunication between the city, and Ivy had permits for the court and all that. So that court got destroyed, and we had to combine the camps back into one camp, and ultimately it all worked out, but just an interesting way to start the trip.
Yeah. How many kids do y'all end up having at the camps?
I mean, I think overall total between all the days, probably 60 to 70 various kids.
Yeah, it was a lot of kids, plus their parents.
So there weren't that many there every single night. There were some individual contacts and stuff. Some kids only came for one night, but I mean, I think really good.
Making contact, because Ivy keeps those contacts, and then he goes back after them.
So the basketball camp was in the evenings?
Yeah.
Just a few hours kind of thing? Or
so we would
it was long.
Yeah, I mean, the preparation, we would start, some days we would start at like noon, and then we wouldn't get back to the house until like 10:30 or 11 at night, just after we do cleanup and set up. And the camp only ran for 2 hours, but the kids would show up like an hour early to shoot with us and hang out and talk. And so, I mean, the evenings, and they were good, but turned into kind of long days. So we had some late nights. We got started pretty late in the mornings. But overall, I mean, I think it was really effective. The team, they did great.
Yes,
they were just more than willing to serve where needed. Really getting into conversations with people. Saw a lot of gospel conversations taking place. And so, I mean, I think overall it was a really effective week.
Obviously, you got involved with the kids and had gospel conversations with the kids. What about parents? Do you guys get opportunities with the parents as well, or?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the parents would stay there the whole time that their kids were involved, and we would just send our team members out to go. I know Trey and Kelly had a ton of conversations. Lily Treffin and Sophie Seeley, they were very faithful to go out and make conversations and contacts. Pretty much everyone on the team at various points throughout the week. I just saw them talking to adults. Some of them were believers, some non-believers, but they were just faithful to get out there and share the gospel, pray with people. So I think that was a really neat. Every night we would share the gospel with the kids. There'd be like a time where everyone would come together and have kind of a little brief devo. But outside of that, I mean, most of the parents out there, I think they heard the gospel in various capacities and heard it often and every night. So that part was really cool.
Cool. So you think about these 2 trips, one to the Dominican Republic, one to Boston, a different context, obviously, different countries. But I'm sure a lot of similarities as far as challenges and things like that. So you think about the 2 trips in Dominican Republic and in Boston, what would you say were the biggest challenges you faced throughout the week?
Yeah, so for Dominican, a couple challenges. One, a language barrier. Yeah. So we defeat that through missionaries that also translate for us. And that honestly has, I think, pretty much been overcome in terms of how we've been able to grow in our ability to work through translators. But also,
you got to preach for the first time in the DR.
Yep, absolutely.
Wow, with a translator.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How was that for you?
It was awesome. I mean, this has been about 6 years of me having experience of talking through translators, and so this was just obviously a lot more time talking at one time. But I mean, I feel like I've gotten kind of the rhythm down and the cadence that you need to wait for a translation to take place. It's different. It is, but it was good. It was really good. I would say though the biggest challenge that we face is actually being helpful as a short-term team to the missionaries on the ground, to the churches on the ground. And so I guess what I mean by that is, like, in the past I've gone, not necessarily with SCORE, but I've been on different mission trips, and I can remember going to the Dominican probably 9 years ago now, and we primarily built things. We spent money on things. We gave away free things, and we didn't really share the gospel a ton. And that, from our American point of view, is like awesome. You know, we can post that, we can talk about it, we look at all what we did, but in the grand scheme of things, the people who are down there in the country that are on the mission and that are serving and that know the gospel is primarily important, they don't really see this as like something that's super helpful. But at the same time, you know, we can come in and we can just share the gospel and just talk about Jesus all the time and never actually meet any needs. And then it kind of rings hollow. So I think the biggest challenge is actually being helpful as a short-term team. Yeah. And I feel like this year we did better than ever. I'm really excited about the years to come. I think we've really got some things figured out. So.
Good. What about you guys? Biggest challenges in Boston?
Well, believe it or not, language was a big issue. I mean, we ran into a lot of Hispanic people that just literally cannot speak. I mean, if they spoke English, it's very broken. So, I thought next year we definitely need to talk to Deb. That was my first thought, because of course this is her cup of tea, is working with Spanish peoples. And anyway, but the point is that that was a big thing. What else?
Yeah, I mean, we could certainly talk about some of the cultural differences and just the lostness of Boston, but really, I mean, Trey's been up to Boston a lot. I've been up to Boston a lot at this point. We just had a lot of what started off as just kind of weird circumstances, things just happening that don't normally happen.
Like your court getting excavated. Yeah,
like the court getting torn up. And, I mean, even when we left the church that day, the van was dead and wouldn't start, which is no problem. Like, it's fine. We take care of that. Trey got sick and wasn't able to make his flight. Morgan was in New York at the time. Her train into Boston got canceled. People were sick. Like, several of them just showed up sick to the trip. They weren't feeling good. Our AC went out halfway through the trip, and it was
one of the hottest weeks in Boston, and it was hot.
Yeah, I mean, it was like in the mid 80s in the house, and we're trying to sleep, and so all that stuff, like, it's a mission trip. It's fine. All that stuff's going to happen. But we really, I mean, honestly, I think the spiritual warfare that was there, we had a discussion as a team about that. I agree. Satan did not want us there. And did not want us sharing the gospel, did not want us interacting with these families. And so I thought that was good for our team to think through, because even, I mean, I'm a pastor at a church. We talk about the gospel all the time. We're thinking about this. I grow cold to the reality of spiritual warfare.
Yeah, so talk to us about that, right? Like, because I don't think many of us think much about spiritual warfare, especially in American context, right? What is spiritual warfare, and how do we see it in gospel ministry?
Yeah, I think spiritual warfare can show up in a lot of ways. Again, because like you said, we're Americans, we're westernized, we just don't think about the spiritual realm a whole lot.
Right.
That's just around us all the time. And there's this battle between ultimately the kingdom of God and the powers of darkness that's happening around us. Satan is the prince of the power of the air. The last thing he wants is for more people to come into the kingdom of God and identify him as the one worthy of worship. And so I think it shows up in a lot of ways, whether it's through circumstances, right? We don't want to call everything spiritual warfare,
That's right.
right? We don't want to go overboard. But whether it's sickness, whether it's, things happening, things like a basketball court getting torn up, miscommunication, all these things kind of start, I think, working together, because Satan just does not want us there.
Right.
And you can have internal battles, self-doubts,
that's right.
all that kind of stuff.
You get discouraged.
So again, we don't want to call everything spiritual warfare, but it's a very
reality.
real thing.
Yeah.
And so I think, it's funny. We had this conversation as we were talking in Bible study one night. It's interesting that the times that you experience spiritual warfare the most are when you're on mission.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're like, well, I don't experience this in my day-to-day life. That might be a case for us to look in the mirror, right?
Wow, yeah.
Why would you suffer from spiritual warfare if you're not serving on the mission?
That's right.
Satan's got you right where he wants you in that setting. You're not speaking the gospel. You're not making disciples, doing that thing. It's interesting that when you start to live on mission, right, you start to experience that a lot more. We walked through Philippians as a group in our team time as we were doing Bible study and just thinking through the nature of suffering. Right? Paul says it's been granted to you to suffer for the sake of Christ. Yeah. And that suffering is going to show up in various ways, right? It's going to look different in the DR maybe than it does in Boston and than it does in wherever else we go. But it's a reality. It's real. And I think us looking through the lens of the gospel, understanding the spiritual realm, and understanding what's really happening, right, ultimately, and we're in the middle of that. Now, the Spirit's very faithful to us. God's faithful. He's going to protect us. There's nothing, right? It's not like I was ever scared in Boston or any of that kind of stuff. But it's a reality. When you serve on mission, there will be spiritual warfare.
Yeah. How about you guys, Cody? Did you see how would you say spiritual warfare was present in the DR? Did y'all think through that any?
Yeah, we definitely talked through that. I think one of the most visible places that we saw spiritual warfare was actually in the suffering experienced by some of the Dominicans who are leading churches, who are pastoring, who are on mission week in and week out. One of the questions, I asked 3 main questions to the people that we go minister with, not to. So when we visit places, for instance, we go to a girls' orphanage called Pasitos de Jesus, and there's a lady who runs this orphanage. Her name is Dharma, and her goal is she has this discipleship strategy to from the time she gets these girls in the Dominican who have been abandoned, to the time that they graduate, to send them out as mature disciples that are able to make disciples. It sounds a lot like what we do here, and that's why I love going back. And so this year I was really intentional. I was like, hey, how can we help you? Like, what can we be praying for? How can we serve you? Because we do a VBS, right? We go there, we share the gospel. We have a few of our girls, they get up and they share their testimony. She says that, honestly, it's just hard day in and day out. She's got most of the girls who are of age of faith. They've actually repented of sin and trusted in Christ. But it's still on a very hard level. The things that she has to work through with these girls who've been abandoned, and not just that, but it's not like it's America where rights are really guaranteed for people, especially people who are easily taken advantage of, like women and like young women. And so she's got to work through a lot of those. And honestly, as I asked the question of like, how are you doing? Tears just kind of fill her eyes because of the spiritual warfare that goes on. And there are many, many moments like that as we talk to missionaries who are just going through things. And I think poverty is one of the ways that the enemy attacks. In America, we have all the stuff. In a place like the Dominican, they don't have the stuff.
Yeah.
And so distraction.
That's right. But the enemy's attacking through wealth,
that's right.
too. Because
that's right.
he keeps
so
us blind to the need through our wealth because we think we've got security, right?
Yeah. And so we're ministering to a coach who his name is Daniel, and he goes out to one of the villages that we minister to, a Haitian village. And all of his teeth are what he describes as fluffy because he doesn't have he's never had health care. And so his teeth are all falling out or getting removed. And so we were able to bless him, with the finances, able to actually have that surgery to put in teeth. But little things like that we just don't think about.
Yeah.
And like to think about the suffering that he's going through on a daily basis, his health has been attacked. Right now, obviously, there's a lot of other things going on there. That's just the way of the world, and that's just life to an extent. But still, there's no doubt that the enemy is working. And he's working against the kingdom for sure.
So when you think back specifically on the DR trip, we take a lot of teenagers on that trip. How did you see God at work in the lives of our teenagers?
Oh, my goodness. This is one of the coolest parts about taking student ministry or teams from student ministry to the Dominican Republic is because the amount of high school students who learn so much, who are exposed to so much, who experience so much, and who get to participate in so much of the mission, and it's in their face. Like to see them from day 1 to day 7 is unbelievable. We've had a few students who've been with us for 3 years now, and so they've gone back. And there are a few students now who have made decisions that they're going to live in international context on missions because of some of the experiences they've had in missional settings here at Northwood. And that's awesome.
Yeah.
That is incredible. Obviously, it's very intimidating for a high schooler to get up in front of a bunch of people who don't speak their language and to share their testimony in front of a translator. But that, in many ways, can be like a defining moment in their life.
For sure.
It was for me. I went on mission trips when I was 15, 16, 17, 18, and those changed my life. And so it is not an overstatement to say that lives are changed every time we take high schoolers on mission. And they're changed for the better as they're exposed to the mission.
Yeah, so you think about, right? I think about, I've got a teenager and I've got a almost 10-year-old, and that's one of the things I'm looking forward to, that my kids are in a church where that opportunity is going to be there for them to go on mission. Luke went on mission this summer already to World Changes, but then have that international experience, right? Like parents take advantage of these opportunities. It costs money,
sure,
but it's worth the investment.
Absolutely.
Because what can happen in the life of your student during that week is a movement of God in their hearts as they're serving, right? They're being a blessing to others, obviously, but, obviously God is doing a work in them at the same time. And so, take advantage of those opportunities as they come up. We're going to talk much more about these trips, hopefully once we get back from Salt Lake City, and you have a team going to Japan. Yeah. That's October, right? That team's going to Japan. We'll have a big night of celebration where we celebrate all of our different teams, and we'll have an opportunity for different team members to give testimony. Yeah. We did this last year. It was a lot of fun. Give testimony of what God did in them and through them, so we're excited about that. But Logan, as we're kind of wrapping this up, what is your encouragement as our missions pastor? What is your continued encouragement to our people as they think about the mission to make disciples of all nations?
We realize that we ask a lot of people to go on these trips. So I don't want anyone to ever think like, that we don't understand. You're making an investment. You're giving up a week, time, money away from your family. I'm just telling you that it's worth it. A short-term trip. One of the things I was praying for myself for this trip. I've been on a lot of mission trips. I was asking God for a renewed sense of passion for the lost on this trip. These trips do that. We talked a lot on our team, right? We often think, well, I'm going on a mission trip so I can share the gospel and I can do a good thing. And all that's true. You're going to share the gospel. You're going to do ministry. Our partners need us.
Yeah.
And we talked about with our team just the love that we need to have. Again, from Philippians, Paul talks about the joy he has for the Philippian church, right? And he sees a good work in them. He wants them to continue in that. But he's communicating with them, and he's back and forth with them. And we've got to do the same thing with our partners. And so if you're sitting here and like the DR sounds far off and you've never, just because Ivy is Trey's son, we've been partnering for a while, the very best way to grow in your love for these church partners is to go
see them
and to see the work they're doing and faithfully living and oftentimes some really difficult contexts. I have never once gone on a mission trip and regretted that.
Right.
And I don't think anyone would regret that. It's worth your time. It's worth your investment. And ultimately, it's worth obedience to Christ to participate on his mission.
Yeah.
And you'll come back. You'll come back with a renewed sense of what God's doing here in our city. I think it's one of the very best tools and ways that God has given us to serve, to get a renewed sense of passion. Like, hey, I can just do this at home. I can have gospel conversations at home. I can be on mission in my community, in my workplace. And I think it's worth that.
Absolutely.
Well, Pastor, I think this will be good. And Logan, thank you. And Cody, I appreciate you coming and being a part. And everybody that served on mission both these trips, thank you. It is some awesome opportunity to share the good news of Christ. And like you said, reflect on our desire to see the lost come to know Jesus as Savior and Lord of their lives.
Absolutely.
So, Pastor, as we get ready for next week, why don't you go ahead and close us?
Yeah, I do hope that today's episode has been helpful for you. And if it has been helpful, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you can have content delivered to your device every single week. Leave us a 5-star review. That helps us to get word out about the podcast. And as always, we hope today's episode has helped you connect faith to life.